And we're back again. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankly Football. I'm your man, B Hart, and I got my man Hannah Graham with me.
What's up, baby? How you feeling, man? Frankly, football in the building, man. We back at this thing, man. Burning the late night oil. What's up, man?
So, Chris, you know what time it is. It's draft season, my favorite time of year.
It
But
is.
I think that the draft kind of took a hit. It took a punch to the gut when not too long ago it was determined that the combine would not be happening this year. That hurts my soul. It hurts me. With the combine, to me, I like to get myself a snack and I like to sit down and watch. It's an all-day event for me.
Hey, man, I love watching 300-pound men run the 40, man. Most of my friends think I'm crazy because I love the combine, I love the three-cone drill. I love stuff like that, man. So, yeah, losing the combine this year is huge, and that goes back to COVID and things of that nature. So definitely understand that.
Yeah. So obviously the combine is gonna hurt a lot of people. Um, Underclassmen that aren't gonna get a chance to play in the Senior Bowl, and honestly, scouts. They lose the opportunity to get those measurables from the bulk of people in one controlled setting. Of
Okay.
course, they'll still get pro days, which is going to be that much more important at this point. But scouts they're going to be scrambling. We just talked about this. I could see a team that has maybe a 20-man scouting department, pack them up into maybe 4 or 5 different groups, put them in RVs and send them on the road, nonstop when it comes time for these pro days.
Well, I don't think, we kind of discussed this a little bit earlier. I don't think it hurts scouts. I think it really puts the onus on your scouting department because they've been watching these guys. They just start watching these guys in September of this year. They've been watching these guys for years. They knew who Penei Sewell was, not just last year. They knew who he was as a sophomore going into his junior year. So they kind of knew these guys. So I think it puts the onus on how good your scouting department is, how good do they evaluate the talent, and then how they are able to translate that back to the team. The advantage we have is the Dallas Cowboys are a really good drafting football team. Across the board, for years, we were, better in the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds. We used the 2nd round for the hurt player round. But across the board, under Will McClay in the scouting department, I think they've been top notch. So that's why when we start talking about giving up picks, we're like no, because we can go find that guy. You can go find a Brandon Dakota Prescott in the 4th round. You can go find Xavier Woods in the 5th, 6th round. So I think that's going to be great for us because we're a good scouting football team.
Absolutely. Another, like I said, the other group of people that I think it hurts are underclassmen. The top of this draft is filled with redshirt sophomores and juniors. So this could potentially, by way of the Senior Bowl, harm their draft stock. Not the top guys, but some of those late 1st round guys, they could possibly see their draft stock harmed by way of the Senior Bowl.
I think what ends up happening puts more onus, like you said, for the scouts on the pro days, because now they've got to go out to the schools and get true measurements, because when you can do it at the combine, you can trust those measurements. You go to a school, a guy who's 5'8" is listed at 5'11". So that's going to put your onus on the school. So, but I think the top of this draft from Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Penei Sewell, Micah Parsons, Jamar Chase, and that's 6 guys I'm just naming off the top of my head that you are not going to be able to touch, feel, see how they look until their pro day. And that's gonna affect a lot of people. But their tape is their tape. So it's like I said, it's going to go back to the scouts who've already looked at them, had opportunity to see them beforehand, how well they feel those guys can be and how they can fit into your program.
So you mentioned one thing. You said scouts can't really trust a team's measurable. For example, have a guy gain 2 inches on paper.
Yeah, they can't trust the school. They can't trust school like your favorite safety, Darius Washington, right? They say he's 5'10". Okay, At the combine, I can find out he's 5'6", 5'7", 3/4. I can,
That's
the biggest thing about a quarterback with his hands, his hand size and what that attributes to. And so that's going to lead it up to a lot of people don't put people on their board if they don't hit the height, weight, criteria for them. They mark them off the board. So that's going to be huge. It's going to be up to the scouts to get true measures and things of that nature during the pro days, which is going to put a huge strain on the deployment of getting guys out there. This has been a perfect time for us to put our resume in for the Dallas Cowboys and go have an opportunity to ride in the RV or be in a certain place to see certain teams, see certain players, and do what we love to do.
100%, man. I would be superstitious if I was the head of a scouting department. I would want my guys at every location in order to confirm or deny the measurables that you see on film. Because that's going to be what a lot of pro days are for now, is confirming measurables. It's going to be less about, let's see, what's the right way to put it? The theatrics of things that you see at the combine. Although I think that networks are going to try to make this into primetime TV and get those ratings that they would lose from the combine. But it's going to be much, much more important to confirming things than the years prior, because you don't get the combine in the weeks before that.
Right. You won't have the machines. You won't have the chance to pull, tug on them like you want to, check knees, check different areas. And if a guy has had a medical problem, you're going to have to trust the doctor at that school. You don't have to trust that facility. And it's going to make it a little bit tougher. But this is a multi-billion-dollar organization. They're going to get the information they need, especially when they're laying so much on the line for these guys that they pick, these 254, 55, 6 guys that they're going to end up looking at. But it's 100%. Also going to have to the point that some guys are going to fall through the cracks. Some of your guys that are undrafted guys who are ballers aren't going to have that opportunity to get that particular touch at the combine. So it's going to make it paramount for the pro days to be special.
100%. So we mentioned the Senior Bowl. I was halfway unaware of this. I wasn't really aware that the practices were on TV. I had to scour the internet for years prior to find good quality tape. And now I see that the practices for the Senior Bowl are going to be on the networks.
Right.
I think that's huge. I'm going to have my snack and my drink tomorrow as it goes on.
Okay. I usually tape it and probably get the recap and look at them. But I mean, you're going to get a chance to see the guys in drills. You're going to get to see guys do a lot of one-on-ones, and that's going to be huge, especially in the trenches where you're looking at, because that's when you get to see a guy if he's got feet, that if he's been playing tackle, how he does in the phone booth as a guard, if he has the versatility to play outside, inside, his strength level. That's going to be huge for a lot of guys.
100%. So let's kind of get right to this then. Let me pull this up. I have the rosters for the Senior Bowl right here.
Okay.
And you mentioned guys in the trenches. I'm really interested in seeing Alex Leatherwood, man. He was one of the guys that I was big on. And obviously, if you're looking at the screen, you would see Alex Leatherwood, tackle Alabama. He was one of those combinations of guys that slowed down Chase Young a little bit.
Okay. All right.
I said slowed him down a little bit. But I champion for him a lot. I think that right now he might be tackle 4. And that would still get him potentially late first round. But I want to see someone like him, show that he can bend, has his hand placement right, has great footwork, things like that. And it's going to be a lot of guys like this. For example, Deontay Brown right below him, that we would like to see as well. But are there any guys in the Senior Bowl that you really had an eye for?
Well, I'm crazy about watching certain guys I'm more into the cornerback phase because I'm more Cowboy centric than anything. Going back to Alex Leatherwood, I've always thought Alex Leatherwood didn't play with as much nastiness or veracity that I thought. I really wanted to see him be a big nasty guy. Like, I'm always looking for a guy with that kind of size and that kind of build, to be a guy who just got a lot of, as our friend and our brother Vosh would say, a lot of whoop ass in his tank. And I don't see that with, huh?
You gotta have it. It's necessary.
Yeah, I don't see that in Alex. So that's my issue with him. But he plays at Alabama. He's gonna be he's gonna be well schooled. He's already got the size and measure. He's been playing on a semi-pro or right below pro level for 2-3 years inside that system. So he's gonna be well taught. So I think he's gonna be fine. The guy I'm wanting to look at is a newcomer in this group for us, is Richie Grant. And I think you had an opportunity to look at him. I've been secondary all day. I want to look at Richie Grant because I need a rangy free safety, and I need that guy who's going to be that guy. Tell me a little bit more about Richie Grant, buddy.
I think Richie Grant does safety things amazing. Okay. I don't think that he is as good as Washington Amorig from TCU, but he's fighting with Hamsah Nasirildeen for my safety 3 spot every single day.
So safety 1 is Darius Washington.
Yes.
What itty bitty missile, as you call him.
Yeah.
So as I call him, itty bitty missile, and then you got Mooring, his bypart. You got him as number 2.
Yes. Trevon Mooring, safety 2. But
gotcha.
Richard Grant, I'd say, what about 5 or 6 days ago, I watched his film, and he jumped off the screen as great single high safety guy. You can put him single high and be comfortable in knowing that he can go from sideline to sideline very quick. He does safety things, I think, better than Hamsah Nasirildeen. But what he doesn't have is the size, the speed, and the versatility that Nasirildeen would have. So I think that with Richie Grant, you want him to be able to try to come in and show that he can flex his hips, because he has this thing where his change of direction comes a little bit late sometimes. So I want to be able to see flexibility from him on the field, and I want to know that he won't get misdirected to death. That's the one thing that I don't want to see from Richie Grant. He'll get misdirected on a run fake kind of easy.
Okay.
And I don't want to see that from him.
Gotcha. My fault. I lost you there for a second, but I already knew where you was going to with that. See, my thing is, I honestly believe the best safety in this draft is playing linebacker. And he's gonna go in as a linebacker, which is JOK. But yeah, if that's what you're gonna run with Richie Grant, I'm gonna definitely have an opportunity to see him and be impressed with him. Give me another guy that you are overjoyed to go see this week.
I want to see Hamsah Nasirildeen, safety Florida State. I love his versatility. I know it wouldn't happen. I know it won't happen, but I want to see him kind of be moved around a bit just to showcase his versatility, because I think that that's his strong point. What I saw from him on film was a bigger Jabril Peppers. And talking to some other draft guys, that was one of the things that they wanted, that they wished Jabril had. They wished he had more size. So, you may be able to see that in Hamsah, but I want to see him do safety things well at the same time. If he's going to go into the draft as a safety, I need to see him come in and do safety things well. He played a lot of strong. Show me some good free safety stuff.
Okay. All right. So those are your 2 safeties. Who's your best corner that you were looking at in the Senior Bowl right now?
Best corner. Let's see. Let me go down my list. Ifeatu Melifonwu or Ifeatu
Oh,
Melifonwu, from
yeah.
Syracuse.
Okay, so that's Obi's little brother, right?
Yes, Obi Melifonwu's little brother.
Yeah. Okay, so I kind of I researched about him a little bit. My thing is, he's a traits guy, height,
Yes,
size, speed guy, and
100%.
and so he checks all the blocks for that. Um, the question is his love for football, his love for the game. How much does he really,
Mm,
really, truly love the game? Um, is he eaten up by it? And that's the one thing we have to question about him. He's gonna check all the blocks. He's gonna be a physical freak. You're gonna see that size. You're gonna see all those measurables, but you got to find out how much he really loves the game. And that's the question that a lot of people have about him.
absolutely. So I want to see him. I want to see him look nasty on the film. Like you said, love for the game. I
Mm-hmm.
equate that to nastiness in the player, to attitude, to a player having some dog in him.
Yeah, yeah,
And if he gets beat, not pouting and hanging his head.
gotcha.
So
Okay,
yes, I would love to see that from Melifonwu. And he's a guy that I really just started watching film on.
right.
Um, so I got to get to the bottom of that and see if he captures my attention so that I can go back and watch more games. Because yeah, I kind of like what I saw. He's fast, has the length, all of that. But yeah, you show me some good corner things, and I'll be all in on him.
Gotcha. So my D tackle one is playing this weekend, and
Yes.
I can't wait to see him get in there and smack people around. Mr. Wilson, from Florida State, Mr. Marvin Wilson.
I'm actually kind of upset, man.
Why?
Cause
Why?
cause the hype on Marvin Wilson is raising every day.
Hey man.
Where you would have been able to see him drafted in the late third. Now he's rising to be a second round guy.
Well, I mean, here's your deal. With your need being Cowboy centric, your need being D tackle, and being the fact of the matter that your guy is your want to is to move down maybe no less than 14. Your range has always been 16. You've been hollering about
Yes,
16, 17 since November. Getting to
that's
16,
right.
17. If you go 16, 17 and get an extra pick, then you'll package that pick up and go get Marvin top of the second round. So that's what you need. If you can go get my number one corner on the board where I can get him at. If I can get J.C. Horn at 16, because I don't think Farley's going to be there. If I can get J.C. Horn
No,
at 16 and turn around and get Marvin Wilson top of the second, oh man, I'm happy as a pig and slop.
I would. But here's my thing about Marvin though. And I'm not gonna see this in the Senior Bowl. I need him to stay healthy. He gets nicked up.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a problem. I mean, that's a problem because the greatest ability, as we all know, is what availability.
Availability.
And if he can show up and play, if I can get him 16, I need him 17 to 18 games in this league. So you're absolutely right, especially playing one technique, playing inside. But he shows me the hustle and the drive and the want to that I don't get from McNeil out of North Carolina State. I watch McNeil's tape, and he's more of a I'm gonna stay here. I can't be moved, but I'm not gonna get that hustle, that want to from him. And that's one thing that you can't teach want to. You can't teach that.
Absolutely not.
Yep.
Man, I like Elaine McNeil, man. He gets asthma sometimes, and you see him really slow down, but I like
He
him, man.
slows way down, man. I mean, when I was watching this tape, I was like, okay, I see this massive human being right in the middle of the field, but he don't go nowhere. But you're not
Yeah,
moving him either. You're not moving him either. So that kind of makes it to the point, okay, if you're not gonna move, I know right here you're not running in this area. So I'm just a Marvin guy, man. I'm a Marvin guy, so I'm be honest, I'm biased.
Yeah, I like Marvin too. That's why I can't hate on it. I think that he's the best one tech in this draft, and that the rising rankings in people's boards comes with the territory.
Absolutely.
So I've been looking at this. I haven't looked at this guy's tape yet, but I've been meaning to Daryl Slayton.
Okay.
He's gonna be one of the one techs that are gonna be in the Senior Bowl. I haven't watched this guy's tape yet.
Okay.
So the Senior Bowl is gonna be the first exposure for me.
Okay.
But he got size, man. He big. He a big boy.
What's his measurement? What's his measurement for that?
6'5", 358.
That's a large man. That's a large man. So that'll be one of the guys we'll mark to go look at, and kind of come back and bring back to the people later on this week when we get back together and talk more about him. So when we do our recap of the Senior Bowl, we'll talk about him more in detail.
Absolutely. And because this isn't just a Cowboys episode here. This is draft. I think that most of your quarterbacks, most of your big name quarterbacks at the top of your list are not going to be Senior Bowl guys. The quarterback, even though Mac Jones is in there, the quarterback that I think is going to help himself the most is Kyle Trask, Florida. Mac, I think, put on enough of a show in the championship game to where he cemented himself in a lot of people's eyes. Kyle Trask, while he has a lot of the stats and some obscure group of people may know about him and champion for him. He's my QB6. Mid, maybe even late second round guy. So he has the opportunity to put on a show.
I think Matt Jones has been playing football in another universe. And the reason I'm saying Matt Jones has been playing in another universe is because he's had super clean pockets. He hasn't dealt with rush and pressure like the other guys have. So I think the Senior Bowl will be a big place for a showcasing place for him. How does he work when he isn't behind all 5-star, well-coached recruits, well-coached players, and how he looks then? I think Trask will be able to shine a little bit because he's dealt with that, and he'll be able to move around a little bit more. I still think he's
a statue.
I still think. I think he's limited. I think he's limited. I think he's I'm thinking of the guy that played at Oklahoma State with Blackman and that's Brandon Wheaton. But I think he plays. I just think he's limited. I don't think he's going to be a guy that you're going to look at and be like, oh, hey, that's a gem. No, I think he's going to be limited. So I'm just want to see how Matt Jones does, and how he plays behind a realistic offensive line, because he's not going to be playing behind that wall that he played with at Alabama.
That is going to be very interesting because obviously he's in totality of the unit and the level of competition that he was playing against, he's probably going to take a step down in his offensive line once he gets to the pros anyway. So yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Mac Jones is my QB4.
Okay.
I got him above. I have him above. Yeah, have him above Trey Lance.
Okay. Why?
Explain yourself,
sir. Explain yourself, sir.
Mac Jones got an arm, man. I think that Mac Jones, while yes, he was privileged enough to have an amazing O-line.
Extremely privileged. He was playing in an alternate universe. He was playing with the Space Jam, the Monstar All-Stars, bro, as his offensive line.
Okay. So if Mac Jones was on Everest, Trey Lance in itty bitty North Dakota State was playing against who?
Okay, I understand that, but as for what he was doing, his measurables, his ability to run, being able to make all the throws, having everything thrown on his shoulders of having to be everything to that football football team into that program. That's why I kind of have him as my quarterback. He's my quarterback 4. He's my quarterback 4. Yeah, he's my quarterback 4.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we only gonna get more time to dissect that. We got to April to get this right.
Yeah, I mean, it can change because he can go from quarterback 4 to quarterback, 7. Depending on what ends up happening. So, that's the beauty of it.
Pundits would be sick. They would be sick.
Yeah. I'll be sick because I'm waiting for somebody to say, "Hey, I gotta go have him," and come up and give me some extra love in my trade down from 10. 100%. But that's there.
100%. So going back to the Senior Bowl, what was it? Running back Najee Harris. I'm kind of surprised that he entered because it's almost like he didn't have anything else to prove.
I mean, it's like Najee Harris has been in college for like 7 years. I've been watching Najee Harris since he was like a junior in high school, and he burst upon the scene. So I think he made the most of his opportunities, and he's coming out of a stable out of Alabama where you're looking at you've had Henry, you've had Jacobs, now you have him. I mean, you have him. So going to the Senior Bowl, he'll get to run behind. Not a premier offensive line. He'll be able to show his versatility, but I think he's one of the better. If he's not the best catching running back in the country, he's number 2 behind ETN. So I think Travis Etienne out of Clemson. So I think Najee Harris has a lot to show. He's gonna be able to show at the Senior Bowl his ability to the blitz pickup, which is gonna be huge for him, and I think that'll help boost him to that middle, early second round, late first round category.
Yeah, and I really do wish that ETN would have accepted the invitation to the Senior Bowl. He's a senior, just so we can kind of have that solid comparison of them two in the same building, in the same atmosphere.
Right.
But yeah, man, that's one of those situations where, exactly like I said, without the combine, Najee's going to help himself, and ETN, sadly enough, might not help himself in that situation.
I mean, he's had a great season, and he's boosted his stock through the roof. You seen him walk in the last year. You probably may think he was a third round back, and he's able to push himself to the top of the second round, into the first round by his performance all year with his versatility, his size, his speed, his ability to be elusive, and his catching ability out of the backfield makes him a great pickup. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and I think a team's gonna jump at him. Running backs have kind of had their value drop. Since the illustrious Ezekiel Elliott year.
Because you're able to find that guy in the second, third round. You're gonna run him. The one thing that I give Stephen Jones credit for, he said we're gonna run him until he can't run no more, and then turn around and go get another guy. And you can do that if you pick him up in the second round. When you pick him in the first round, that ain't going to end up happening. So that's why I can think the Davenports, unless you become elite, that second contract for a running back is limited because people, you're not getting you're gonna run that guy to the ground and then look for the next one coming out.
Absolutely. I haven't watched any tight ends or receivers yet, so I don't have any names to go over.
Okay.
I've been biased in my film watching.
Absolutely.
But yeah, none of the top 3 guys are going. So a lot of these receiver names I do not know yet. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, that's a good deal because that gives us some guys to kind of look at. So when we get back together on Friday and we do our recap, we'll be able to say, hey, this wide receiver popped for me, this tight end popped for me, and we'll be able to report on that. See, it's hard when we've been so Cowboy-centric for so long for the last 16, 17 weeks. And I'm just grateful for everybody that's been on this journey with us, that now we kind of broaden our horizons and show us where we really get down on, especially with this draft season. So we'll be able to report back some people report back.
That's right. That's right, man. So after the Senior Bowl, obviously there's going to be a large gap. What are you hoping to see from these players now that there is no combine?
All I really want to see, man, is if that the tape. I can't expect. I've always seen all the football they can put out. So now my evaluation goes to how do they fit in particular places and particular schemes, and how people are going to be able to use them. You got some guys who have like I said, going to have traits. So how do they fit inside my scheme? Is he a 3-4 linebacker that can drop in coverage and run, or is he just a 3-4 end that can just rush and play stand? Because the league is so diverse that they're spreading people out. You're going 4 and 5 wide. Can I take a guy and is he an inline tight end, or is he somebody I can flex outside and he can block just enough to help me somewhat in my run game? So it's a lot of things I want to see. Is this guy who played tackle, is he a true tackle, or can he slide in and play guard and have that flexibility? So how many people have true position flex? That's another thing we'll be looking at and we'll be really evaluating.
Interesting. And I forgot to mention this when we were talking about the combine earlier. How do you think that all of the pandemic related things, how do you think that's going to affect visits, like the 30 visits that teams get?
Well, I think they learned a lot from last year. I think last year they did a lot of visits over Zoom. I think, as bad and as horrific as the pandemic has been, is giving people the mindset, okay, I can learn a lot from talking to a guy over Zoom, and then I can piece out who I'm going to bring in to actually bring my facility, and bring him there. Because a lot of times you tip your hand by the 30 visits that you bring in, okay? And that gives other people an idea of who you might draft or who you're looking at. So I think they're still going to bring guys in. I think they're still going to be to the point of being more careful. I think for Dallas and in their mindset, for us, is the Dallas Day. Dallas Day has been huge for them for finding guys that were able to be in that area, come and do a pro day in Dallas and be able to be seen. Connor Williams benefited from a Dallas Day. Patrick Creighton benefited from a Dallas Day. And many other guys have benefited over the years over Dallas Day. So that's gonna be even bigger this year than ever before.
I'm hoping that things like Dallas Day will still be able to exist in this particular climate. I know that previously teams were able to freely bring in guys from nearby schools. For example, Dallas did this with TCU a lot, and that I'm a big fan of two particular guys from TCU right now.
We know who you're in love with, man. We know who you're in love with.
Hey, man, I'm gonna
get you a TCU Horn Frog hat.
Hey, man, I like what I like, man. So I hope that doesn't intrude upon their ability to bring guys in at all. It'll just may have to be a more controlled environment, maybe, or I don't want them to have to do it through Zoom, because like we said before, I don't trust not having my guys in that situation. That's just a superstitious scout in me. I would want them to be in my controlled environment.
They have sat down and talked to. They have sat down and looked and put eyes on Darius Washington. Panay Sewell is in the Dallas, Texas area. They have gone to look at Panay Sewell and see how he's doing. So I don't think it's to the point that they're going to miss having an opportunity to touch these guys. Guys have spread out across the country. They're going to their particular places. They've gone to Arizona, California, Florida to start doing their training. So trust me, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay. They have the ability to rent out 7 to 10 RVs and hire drivers to drive their guys where they got to go see these guys, these prospects that they want to go see. More than ever, like you said, and like you alluded to before, the pro days are going to be humongous. Pro days are going to be humongous, and it's going to be to the teams that have good, functional, working scouting departments that'll be able to help. I think it benefits, as a Cowboy fan, it benefits us more because last year we relied on the scouts and we had the bonanza that we ended up picking up this past year. I think it has to go back to the scouts to continue to bring in talent that we can continue to work with and build this team with.
And it's really going to show who has the good scouts and who has the bad scouts. It's going to show that 100%. Teams like Dallas, like you said, are going to have an easier time. Teams that don't have solid scouting departments or don't, I think there is an analytics to scouting. Teams that don't believe in that theory as much, you know, they're going to suffer. I'm just happy to be on the positive end of that fence.
Absolutely. It's just the guys who don't fit particular blocks. If a guy's in a 6'1", 225-pound safety, does he get looked at when you've got a 5'10", 5'9", smallest safety, and you think he's the best thing since sliced bread? Does he get to be on your board? And does he be able to hand up? Does he be able to play along for you? I know. I understand, man. I understand.
But yeah, man, I think that's all we got on this, man. We want to take up too much of y'all time. But it's gonna be interesting this week.
It's gonna be very interesting. I want to, before we break out of here, man, I just want to thank everybody, man, who's been on this journey with us, man. Me and Brandon got together, man, March and April of 2020, and said, hey, man, let's take Frankly Football and let's try to expand it a little bit, man. And you know, we're up to 200 subs now. I know a lot of people say, "Dang, 200 subs isn't a lot," but man, for us, man, that was some of our goals, man. It's a small goal, man. So we appreciate you guys being on this journey with us. We appreciate the comments, man. We appreciate the subs, man. Share it with your friends, man. Give us feedback, man, so we can get better at doing what we do. But just continue on with us with the journey, man. And we'll get back with you later on this week with a more breakdown of the Senior Bowl and moving on into next week is Super Bowl week and things of that nature.
That's right, man. So if you haven't already, like this video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, shame on you. You should be.
Man, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Comment, subscribe, all of that. And you know, to shut it out, this has been Brandon, and that's my guy.
Hey man, let's set it off for Chris, man. Peace.